Okay, would you like to get started? Let's do it. My name is Miss Decca Trell. I am the co-principal of Beverly Hills High School, and I have the pleasure of introducing our illustrious panel. We have some pretty heavy hitters from our community here, Women in Leadership, IRL, and I will just call your name, come on over, wave, take a seat wherever you would like, but I am going to leave the introductions and the bio to you directly. So we have, representing all politics, we have the mayor of Beverly Hills, Ms. Lila Beroukhim.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. Tell me where you'd like me to
Wherever you would like. First chair. First chair. And we have representing hospitality, CEO, Tiffany Davis. We have representing law as a lawyer, and I will let you tell the rest, Ms. Jackie Kruger. Representing the field of aerospace and computer science, Ms. Nushin Meshkati. Representing construction design, contractor, Ms. Jennifer Pedersen. And representing technology, also CEO, Ms. Lila Beroukhim.
So, I'm Lily Beroukhim. I went to Beverly, yay! I always start with that because it has never left me. And all roads for me, even in my involvement with politics of the city, started with the schools here. Hence, I'm wearing my Norman orange. Let's give it up, come on! I grew up here, very, very lucky. My parents moved here to Beverly Hills, police, fire, schools, and for the American dream. My parents were immigrants. My mom was a Holocaust survivor and really wanted to give her only child just the best of everything, so that's why we moved here. Every time I speak anywhere, my number one favorite place to be is always here at the schools. So I hope you feel it, because it's truly from my heart. And I'm just excited to be here and share my journey with you and ask any question you have. Hard, bring it on. I'm ready. Let's do it. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we are, just to interject because I forgot this part, why are we here today? Why are we here anyway? This is Women's History Month March, and this is our culminating event. I know you've been doing a lot of things in your classrooms, but we also wanted to wrap the month with a focus on women in leadership specifically. What is that like? How do you get there? How do we support one another? Young men, how are you allies to your female peers and coworkers? Because we're all here, we all are for gender equality, yes? Yes. So we have these wonderful models of leadership today with us to share their journey to leadership, and I'll let you take it from here. Tiffany.
Okay. I'm Tiffany Davis. I am the co-founder and president of Key Entertainment, which is a live event production company, among other things, other entertainment projects. A little bit about my journey. I'm from Texas originally and moved out here over 20 years ago for almost a decade, then had to leave for career opportunities. I worked for the Academy of Country Music, for an organization in Nashville. I ran for talent buyers and talent agents, so it was all music industry related, and made my way back because I've never been happier and felt more at home than being here. So I knew this was where I needed to plant roots. So I came back about 5 years ago now and got very involved in the city, in the Chamber of Commerce. I was past chair of Next Beverly Hills Committee last year. That's the group that puts on the block party on South Beverly Drive called Next Night, and have just been blessed to speak with several of you, I'm not sure if it was you specifically, but many high school students in the Music Industry Center. I often speak with Mr. Brightman's class, and anything else they ask me to do. I just love being here. I actually have a teaching degree, so being with students is something I love. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So hi everybody, I'm Jackie Kruger, and as I sit here today, I have a feeling of like a little bit of imposter syndrome because I'm sitting around so many accomplished, amazing women, and I feel privileged to be invited to sit amongst them. But that is one of those things that we're going to probably talk about today, about being a woman and feeling imposter syndrome and knowing that I have my place up here and you guys have your place in your careers as well. But I also was a graduate of Beverly Hills High School. I think I graduated in 1997, if I'm not mistaken. And I went into the law. I currently have my own law firm. It's called the Kruger Law Firm. And I do all types of work. I do a lot of employment litigation and discrimination litigation. So I hear about all kinds of glass ceiling types issues. I've litigated many Me Too type cases. And so I really know the inside of a lot of women's struggles. People come and tell me their stories every day. I also do all types of injury litigation, toxic tort litigation. I am licensed in both Ohio and California. We're working on that Ohio derailment case out there. We were part of that big Porter Ranch case in the toxic tort out there. We do litigation, and I am when you imagine what an attorney does, and going into the courtroom and what you see on TV, that's kind of what I do. So if people have questions about that, I'd love to answer how I got into that. And I have 3 kids myself in the schools. I have a 7th, 8th, and 10th grader here, and I think I do my part in women leadership by making sure all 3, my 2 girls and my boys, are all feminists. All right, thank you.
Okay, I'm Nushin Meshkati, and as Lily said, Norman blood hasn't left my body. I'm wearing my orange as well to make sure that I fit among you guys as well as possible. I came to United States in 1977. Although I was accepted to UCLA and USC, the rigor of education back in Iran before revolution was very high. So with the 10th grade, I was accepted to both USC and UCLA, but I chose to come to Beverly to be able to learn English and be able to fit with the college life easier. So finished Beverly in 1979, and at that time the revolution happened. So we were to stay until things change. Finished my college, got my bachelor's and master's both from USC in computer science, and because of what was happening in the world, the value of equality was always high in my life. So although I finished my education and was pursuing my career, I was on the side, always active in for women's rights, for human rights, and many different things. And as I got married and had my children, stayed active in their schools, and I served on Board of Education 2005 to 2009. I actually handed off some of the diplomas for 08 graduates. So my son was an 08 graduate, so I was part of that, which is highlight of my life. And I am working currently at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. It's a laboratory of NASA, flight electronics. I have a team that design flight electronics for the scientists. So the scientists decide what they want to discover in other planets and in space in general. The James Webb Telescope was one of the projects I worked on. So we're constantly trying to find interesting things outside our planet. So that's where I work. But as I mentioned, part of being balanced is being able to be active in every level, with your family, with your the social life, as well as community and community services. And for women to stay where they are, we do need men to stand by our side. So we need to make sure we encourage the lifestyle that everyone is looking for throughout. So I'm also at the JPL side, I am also encouraging the internship and mentorship to other schools. So we have some local schools in Pasadena that we work with. With the new director, I'm trying to bring that program to other high schools. So hopefully we can find some ways of working with our district, which is my home district. Hopefully we can expand that culture of science among all of you, because we need, without science, there is only so much we can grow. So hopefully we'll be able to get more of you picked up to follow the footsteps of scientists and engineers. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Jen Pedersen. As Ms. Dickertel said, I'm a general contractor. I work in construction. I probably have a little bit of a non-traditional path in relationship to the rest of the ladies up here. I went to university to play soccer. I was a student athlete, and I majored in civil engineering. I found out pretty quickly that was a little boring for me. I kind of wanted something a little bit faster, so I actually left college and went straight to work. I worked in construction for a couple of different companies. Still in college, I was taking night classes. I would work in the morning for several hours, then go to school for soccer practice or for games, then come back to work a few hours, and then go to school until 10 o'clock at night. So I really worked my way through it. At 24, I decided that I wanted to be my own boss, so I developed a business plan, and I started my own company. I started in design first because I was working with different architectural firms, but I was really interested in construction, so I spent as much time as I could in construction in the field, working with the guys, and eventually I grew my business into construction as well. So that's what I've been doing for the past 25 plus years. I'm also very involved in the schools. I've got a 6th grader and an 8th grader at BVMS, and I've been involved in PTA leadership there. I've also been involved in soccer coaching and coached kids from 18 months old all the way through college women. So I've been around a lot of different kind of aspects and had very good success and very good mentorship with men and women in my fields. I've never had any kind of disparity between the men and the women, and I feel very supported by all the guys that I've worked with. Construction is a really male-dominated field, a little bit less now so I encourage any women or any girls that are interested in it to get involved, because there's plenty of opportunity for girls out there in construction, engineering, architecture, all those fields. So happy to be here along these women.
Hi everyone, my name is Lital Gilad. I have 4 kids. My oldest is going to come here next year, Danielle. I was born in Israel. My parents were immigrants from Iran, and I was the only one who was born in Israel. And I was the worst student ever. Elementary, middle, high school. I was at the beach. And that was because I had ADD. And back then, nobody knew really what ADD was. Everybody labeled me as lazy, and I'm really not lazy. And I was always very torn between what I thought people perceive me and how my parents perceived me and supported me and how I felt within myself. Then at 18, I figured to myself, if I take the equivalent of SATs, I'll never get anywhere because I have an issue that I need to solve. So I decided I needed to diagnose what is the issue, and I was diagnosed, and I had to somehow convince a law school to allow me to start law school. And while doing the first year in law school, I somehow convinced them to allow me to redo the 12th grade exams so that I can actually continue in law school. And they gave me a condition, and they said, yes, you can start, but if you don't complete these exams and do well in them, you won't be able to go on. So I did law school first year and a big part of 12th grade at the same time. Cut a long story short, I finished law school. I have an MBA. And I think the maturity brought me to understand that I can do this, and I can learn, and I can succeed, and I can focus. And with time, it became easier and easier. And today I have a biotech startup. We invent new drugs, new medicines to treat cardiometabolic disease. My co-founder from UCLA is a scientist who discovered really amazing science, and we're taking it forward. And I've been through many, many types of leadership positions in technology companies, startups, medium companies, public companies. I've, all in all, I think I ran almost $1 billion in sales and book of businesses, and I still have imposter syndrome right now as well. And I'm honored to be here, and I just want to tell the kiddos that are, that don't have A's here, it's okay. It's important, but there is much more to grades in succeeding in life, and I'm happy to share what I've experienced. Thank you.
I heard imposter syndrome come up a couple times. Students, do you know what that means? What is that phrase, imposter syndrome? Somebody tell us.
When you feel inadequate. When you feel inadequate, like in a position, even though you should be.
When you feel inadequate, even though you belong. You really should have no reason to feel inadequate, right? Anybody want to add to that? Yes.
An imposter is someone that pretends to be someone else when they're not. Like sometimes they pretend to be like an innocent person when they're evil.
So as if you're misrepresenting yourself. Yes. So we can talk a little bit about why does that exist? Panelists, what do you think? Why is imposter syndrome something that comes up so many times?
I feel it's lack of self-confidence. That's basically why I feel like one of the main tools for you to grow and expand your knowledge and expand in your career growth is to first believe in yourself. Have enough self-confidence. That's the first step. And the next is put hard work in place to be able to provide opportunity for yourself to grow. The first is to believe in yourself and put 100% of yourself out there for yourself.
Can I add to that? Oh, go ahead, Lily.
So I believe it's nearly impossible to not feel imposter syndrome at some point in your life. And I think if you don't feel it, then I think there's the other side of it where you have a other side to what Nushin is saying, where you have too much of a narcissistic view of yourself. I could tell you, for me, when I ran for office the first time, it was very scary because I had to put myself out there for people to vote for me. And when I wasn't, as you were saying, the best student. I wasn't the person when I went to Beverly that was class president or put myself out there at all. I was actually the person that when the teacher would ask for a volunteer, I would be sitting to myself saying, please don't pick me, please don't pick me. I was the opposite. I didn't have the courage to have the voice that I have now. That took time. So the person that you're seeing sitting here today is not the person I was necessarily when I was your age. I grew into it. But when I ran for office and put myself out there and I won, and not only did I win, I came in first. Instead of being, I was...
And by landslide.
Thank you, Nusheen. But I have to tell you, after being excited about the win, I thought to myself, oh my God, how is this possible? I was like counting the votes. Okay, those are amount, like I have maybe like 300 friends, so they voted for me. And then beyond that, and so in terms of the hard work, I felt that I had to prove to everybody who voted for me that I was worthy of their vote, and I had to prove it to myself. So I actually overworked, and it was so much about, like, instead of reading my packet once, I would read it 10 times. And I think a lot of that was because I wasn't believing that I deserved it and earned it. Now, over time, I do the hard work, but I don't have to do the packet 10 times a day. But I do believe that at some point, everybody feels that way. And I think there's a balance between being humble and also knowing your strengths, and also knowing that the things that you're not strong about, accepting that within yourself, embracing that within yourself, and being comfortable with who you are. And don't use somebody else as like the mirror that you need to be them. Be comfortable with who you are. And then I think the imposter syndrome becomes a bit less because you're okay with who you are inside.
I just
So,
wanna-
go
Can I
ahead.
just add to that really quick? I think, that's spot on. The other thing that I think is important to realize is that it's human nature to compare yourselves to other people. So what I think is really important, especially as a young person, is to surround yourself with people that are supportive of you and are going to elevate you. And look for friends or mentors or other people's parents or adults, trusted adults that you know that are going to kind of get you to those places and help you build that self-confidence within yourself, because it's not natural. Everyone's kind of growing it. Even us as adults, I think, is growing it. So surround yourself with people that are good, supportive people.
So that was my question, and thank you for all of those insights. Have there been times that gender discrimination has impacted your trajectory and career?
I'm going to start and say no. I've worked with mostly men, and it's never been an issue for me. But I know that other women have experienced it in different fields. So, but I just wanted to go ahead and say no first.
I would echo that. In entertainment, it was primarily a man's world, frankly. But I actually had so many strong, supportive men who opened doors for me. So learning to work with them and, thinking of yourself, going back to what we were just talking about, as not an imposter, that you do deserve to be there. You've got the goods. As long as you project that confidence, it's amazing how accepting, they were and how willing they were to open those doors. So, no.
I'd love to contribute to this in pointing out that I have, to my right, one of the top people in hospitality doing amazing things, and one of the only females in construction doing amazing things, and they're exceptional. And so they don't even feel what that the doors were closed or that there wasn't a ceiling, because they are so strong and so capable and so amazing, right? In my experience, there are ceilings. There are ceilings for every single one of us as women and as minorities and as immigrants and as individuals. There are ceilings no matter what. And it's about finding ways and finding support and finding other people that you could turn to and network with to make sure that there is a way to break every single one of those. So you found men that help you make sure open doors for you, and you found men that open doors for you or make sure that you were at that table. But for every single one of these women that persevered, there are quite a lot of women that were held back. And I see this every single day in my career. Helping women who are held back. I remember when I started my job in law, I was working as a young attorney in Cincinnati, Ohio. I remember getting in front of a judge and him calling me honey repeatedly. And my efforts, and from a very young age, was to look older. That was what I had to do to be taken seriously, and in ways that men, at similar age to me, did not have to. So did it hold me back? No, I adapted. But these are things that I had to do, and I had to talk to and network with other women to figure out what it is that I needed to do. And the picture of me inside of your little booklet is a picture of me a long time ago, and I'm much younger than I am currently, but I look older than I was then because I purposely piled on the makeup to make sure that judges, clients, everybody took me seriously in a way that I think that men did not need to do as much of. I mean, everybody younger sometimes gets taken less seriously. I mean, I just, separate of career and colleagues, opposing counsel or judges or whatever who might think of me differently because I'm a woman. And by the way, at this point in time, I think there are more lawyers that are female than are male. So the tides are changing. But separate of that, just yesterday, I was talking to a colleague that I wanted to assist me with a case, and the way that he was talking to me was, patriarchal and condescending. He wanted to help who he assumed was, a woman who, needed the tissue picked up and her handkerchief lifted, and he wanted to, assist me in that way. And I remember an associate at my office turning to me, he's like, "How did you put up with it?" And I just had to bite my tongue while he, condescended to me. I can't imagine any other reason other than because of my gender, and to get through it. It happens. It does happen. And I think that the way to get through it and the way to break through glass ceilings is to choose your battles and choose your friends. Create the connections that exist outside of your, minority group, that exist outside of your gender, outside. So if there's a boys' club, create a girls' club. If there's a white men's club, create a, whatever minority you are club. Make sure you're turning to other people that are like-minded or open-minded in the way that you are. And I'm telling you, the connections that you make in life are the ones that open your doors. Right now, we're sitting on a panel. We're all going to exchange business cards, and we're going to continue opening doors for each other. And that's how life works.
So, go ahead, Lily.
No, Nushin, please, I'll go after you, please.
To add to what Jackie said, in the field that I started back in 1988 at JPL, I was 2 decades younger than my counterparts, and mostly male dominant. So I felt like I wasn't taken seriously. I had to work a lot harder than my counterparts to be able to prove myself, but I did. Things are different now. When I first started, we may have had 20% female population at JPL, but they were mostly staff assistants and secretarial work. Engineering and science, we didn't have as many women. But now, we're 50-50. Maybe even in some areas, we have more female than we have men. So what you have today is a lot different than some of us had to start. We have, in a way, paved the way for you, and it's your job to keep it and continue. Freedom doesn't necessarily stay. You need to make sure it stays where you live and continue expanding on that. Back in November 5th, I helped with the rally in the city of Beverly Hills for women's rights and human rights. And the city was so gracious, especially Lila Beroukhim as our mayor. She held on the front line. And part of that movement was a reminder, education for everyone that lives here and takes a lot of the freedom for granted. We don't appreciate a lot of things that we have in the country that we feel it's filled with freedom. But if you think we have lost so many of our freedom, your age won't allow it, but we used to fly out without having to go through TSA checkpoint, but now we have to. There are a lot of things that we're losing gradually, and it's up to us to keep it. So remember, we have paved the way for you, but it's your job to continue building it for the next generation.
That was great. Thank you, Nushin. I just want to give a different perspective in terms of gender discrimination. I had an incident that happened to me that has stayed with me, and it was actually from a woman towards me. When I first became elected, another woman who was an elected official put her hand out to shake my hand, and I shook her hand, and she said to me, "You're never going to make it if that's how you shake hands. You need to shake hands like a man." And I just looked at her, and it threw me. And I said, first of all, this is me. And as many people know, not only do I not shake hands, I usually hug people. And she also said to me, you need to wear dark suits. You need to really fit into the man's world. And as you see, I've always been, even as an elected official, I always wore color. I always just did it my way, not the way it was expected to be or the way she had expected it to be. So it threw me that it was another woman who was basically saying, in order to make it in politics, you need to be a man. You need to shake hands like a man. You need to dress like a man. And I just said, nope, I'm going to do it my way and be the hugger. When people say, this is Mayor Lily Bassi, I say, I'm Lily. And I'm going to wear the color and do it my way and create my own path. So that was gender discrimination that happened to me from a woman who was saying, in order to make it, you need to be like a man.
Can I add to that? For me, it's yes and no. I was promoted by men, and my mentors were men. I think at the same time, I always felt that it will take a little longer for me as a woman to be promoted because I'm a woman, even though I was more successful than all the other men, and I was one of the only women. So it wasn't that there was a glass ceiling, but it was harder to shatter it. It took longer, and I would say two things. 100% circle yourself with positivity and people that are rooting for you and are happy for your success, that are celebrating your success, that put your success out there and feel that your success is their success. That's number one. Number two, you have to ask. You have to ask. I want to be promoted. I want a higher salary. I want a better office. I deserve a bigger team. I need more support. If you don't ask, you probably won't get it. And I think as a woman, I felt that I had to be more persistent than other guys around me to get what I wanted and to climb that corporate ladder, which I did. But I definitely saw that men next to me didn't have to persist and ask and even nag sometimes to make sure that nobody forgets them. They didn't have to go through that. And I want to echo what Lily said. Unfortunately, some of the most challenging times in my career, in all the companies that I've been with, were put on me from women leaders, women peers. And that's really, really sad. And I take it upon myself to especially encourage women that are successful and give them kudos and put them out there and give them a shout out so everybody will hear this person is successful, this person is working hard, they deserve the acknowledgement. So yeah, that's my take.
Thank you. We had a lot of no's. Do our panelists agree or disagree that leadership qualities are different for men or women? A lot of our students said no.
I agree with the students. I think leadership qualities are universal. I don't see it as a gender issue whatsoever. I think in terms of being a leader, you have to be somebody who is willing to listen and be a part of be part of a community, create people to share a vision with, and that has nothing to do with the gender. I think it's about being kind. It's about lifting other people up. It's, as Lital said, when you see somebody else succeeding, it empowers everybody. And I don't see that as having anything to do with a gender whatsoever. It has to do with being a human being. And love and kindness, and that to me is not a gender whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree in that. I think that respect is a quality of a leader, a good leader. Respect and being able to see things from other people's perspectives and listen. So respect knows no gender. Anybody can be respectful. So.
I want to share a perspective. I totally agree. I think it doesn't matter. A leader, needs to set an example and promote. I felt that I became a better leader when I became a mom. And I think I bring some of my mama care when I have a team that I'm responsible for, and I really do believe that it made me a better manager. So.
And I heard there's a different answer came up here as well. One person said, or one student said, in a situational sense, yes, leadership qualities are different because each gender has specific privileges and expectations attached to them. If each were given the same opportunities, then no, leadership qualities wouldn't have much to do with gender. So what are your thoughts on that insight?
I think that's very insightful and accurate. Yeah, I think that's very insightful and accurate. I mean, we each bring our life experience to our leadership, and we each have an individual style, and we can't help but have gendered conditioning and gendered styles. And there are differences amongst us, but while the panelists are also correct that leadership is being respectful and being and trying to find the greater good for the members of the team, that is leadership. But you can't help not be you and your experiences that culminate in who you are.
The fact is, yes, each person has its own qualities, and they can approach every issue differently. That doesn't necessarily that's not necessarily divided by gender, but each person is different. And the person will show its qualities through how they project. As Lily mentioned, the respect and as my other panelists have mentioned, respect and qualities as a leader that you have, being able to connect with the group that you're working, and be able to communicate. Those are the qualities of good leader, and each person may have a different way of approaching. We're all female here sitting, but each one of us have a different way connecting. If we have a cold personality, we may not be able to connect with you. Lily connects with the whole world because her personality is a sunshine. She basically can just can connect with anyone in the room or outside. But some of us don't have that ability. So I think abilities are different. Each person carries a different ability, and how we approach issues may be different, but not necessarily divided as a gender.
So I'm going to throw something into this mix, which is probably going to surprise many of you. I actually was just sharing this with Tiffany. When the question came up about, do you feel like you're a leader? My thought and my answer was no. So I think that's probably going to surprise people because here I am sitting on a panel. But I don't think of myself that way. I don't think of myself in terms of my title. I don't think of myself in terms of my position, because I think a true leader, for me, it's like you can lead, but if there's nobody with you, if there's no community with you, if people don't share a vision with you, then what are you leading? So from my perspective, I view it as many people, as was said earlier. It's about having people who share a vision together and help create something. I don't think it's one person. And I think in order to get things done, I really do believe it's never just one person. I really believe it's a community of people, and you surround yourself with people that lift each other up. So just wanted to share that, and I'm sure that surprises many people, but it's the truth.
Can I just add to that really quickly? Because I understand what you're saying, but what you do is you inspire. So you may not think of yourself as I'm leading or everybody come follow me, but you naturally inspire. And that naturally draws people to you. So therefore, wherever you go, they want to go. And you're always going in a positive direction. That's the other thing. So,
And one more point is that how we feel ourselves, but the responsibility that we feel. As a leader, leaders normally, whether we call ourselves leader or not, when you feel that responsibility to help guide, that basically you become automatically a leader because you feel responsible to help guide people forward, guide them through a problem. That's a quality of a leader.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that,
You're a
as
leader,
Lily
sorry.
said, that a great quality of being a good leader is also being a good team member. A lot of times I kind of equate things back to my career in soccer, and even though there's a captain on the field, he's also or she's also an integral part of the team. So to be a good leader, you have to be a good team member and be able to work with others around you.
There's no I in team.
Yes.
And I just wanted to just point out the very way that this panel is communicating is probably different than if we had an all-male panel up here. And I am probably gender stereotyping. Every individual is different. Every panel is different. Every person's. But if you just look at how we're communicating up here, we're going around and saying, you are amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. How can we help each other? How can we show all of you how amazing all the women are around me? And I think that is also a gendered leadership style that I have found in my experience, that successful women are women that hold up other women, and that is a very successful way to lead, I think. And the women around me, like, I turn to them when I need help. When I need help in construction, Jen is helping me. When Lital needed help getting to Israel, she reached out to Lily. These women prop each other up, use each other to problem solve. And that is a form of leadership that women have and successful women have.
one last note on that, or note for that, is that what I found, and it's taken me quite some time, so I didn't have it when I was your age, so don't be, panicked if you don't feel this way yet, but as you build your confidence and as you grow into the adult you will become, and you become okay with yourself, whatever that is, then you realize you're not competing with anyone. And that is the biggest problem I think that women have, is they feel they're competing, and if I help you, it takes away from me, and that is absolutely not true. There's room for everyone, there's plenty out there for everyone, no matter what your industry is. You just need to be okay with yourself and know that helping someone else shine does not dim your light.
It actually adds to it.
Exactly. Everybody raises each other. So,
And one last note about success. It took me time to understand and realize that success for me is not a title. It's not my income. It's my health and my happiness. That is success for me. So I just want to put things in perspective. Success is for you to feel good where you are, excited when you wake up about what you do and the people that you're with. Be healthy and be happy. That's the most important thing.
Have things changed and things are different? I think, yeah, things are different, but they're not enough, right? You guys are still facing the same types of challenges that we did and that our mothers and our grandmothers, yes, we have it easier than our mothers did and our grandmothers did, but you guys have a lot ahead of you to overcome, and your job is to lead these companies and make these numbers at equity.
But it also does show that there is improvement.
Yeah.
It's not as fast as we want it to be, but we are moving in the right direction. So that part is good.
The article this image came from was actually about how much the numbers had improved.
Yeah, so it gives us hope because it's moving, yes, and the rate of growth depends on us. Mm-hmm. We have to change the culture. That's why I was talking about it's on your shoulder. The path is open. It's on your shoulder to change the culture, to be able to change those numbers. You're the one that need to believe in yourself. Men believing in women, women believing in men, and push each other forward and allow each other to rise up on each other's shoulder. and be able to increase those numbers. That rate of growth can change by change of culture that you create.
And we are on the shoulders of those who came before us.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And at least for me, that is what has always motivated me, is I hear the voices of the ancestors before me and what they weren't able to do, the voices they didn't have, the opportunities that they didn't have, and that gave me the courage to do it. So we are on their shoulders, and this is the next generation that is going to take us to the future.
And I just wanted to say that I don't think that anybody has it easy. I don't think that, there's a red carpet out for everybody. So we know you guys all have your own challenges, and but it is improving.
So the next question is, describe a challenge. This is for everyone. We've been talking a lot about women and girls and those female gender dynamics, but we invited boys and girls, men and women to this presentation because it's relevant to everyone. And we all, experience gender challenges and benefits in different contexts. So everybody, describe a challenge you face or have faced because of your gender. And I see some answers coming through on the Pear Deck. I'm going to ask a few of you, would anybody like to volunteer to share your answer with the panel? Go ahead. Tell us your name and your grade and your answer.
My name is Mckinlay. I'm in 10th grade, and I'd like to point out that being a man, there are definitely responsibilities and there are definitely privileges, but one of the many things that, the first thing that comes into my head, in the question that, what challenge do you have for being a man? I like to say that men can't really use the power of, I don't know how to say it in the appropriate sense, but power of the appeal. If I were to get into the modeling or the adult industry, I would not get the same salary as a woman, just speaking statistically.
Physical appearance.
Yes.
I hear you. Would anybody else like to share?
So talking about what he was mentioning, how we can change as a culture. If you look at modeling and the entertainment in other countries, pick Turkey, for example. The models, the male models, are a lot more than female models. So it's a matter of culture and how we change the culture. And that's basically what I go back again and say, it's on us how we change the culture. You want to change, you be the change.
I also think it depends on industry. So I don't know much about the modeling industry. I don't know why, but I guess nobody ever thought of me that way. But I do know. I heard a few people chuckling, but I do know, for example, in Hollywood, there's been a lot of people who have said that the male actor would make more than the female actor, and so I think it also, at least in the current stage, it depends also on the industry where you would see men making more or less depending on the industry.
Closing statements. Panelists go first. What is something you heard today that you only have to choose one? And audience members, you need to be thinking about this while our panelists are thinking about it, because we're going to ask you next. Something you heard today that you thought was surprising, or something you heard that you want to learn more about, or something you heard today that you really felt connected to. Choose one to share with the group panelists, and we'll go from there.
Just talking to one of the students just now regarding gender leadership. And he said that what really resonated with him was that he felt that there is no sense of gender. It's more about the qualities that one possesses. And that really resonated with me. We were over there talking to him that he didn't see it as a gender-based reason, that it was more about it's the qualities that you have in leadership, and it has nothing to do, for him anyway, regarding what gender you are, and I agree with him. But there was only 2 people in that corner, so I was very curious. And you know who you are that said that. That really resonated with me. So thank you.
I think something that's surprising but not surprising. We were in this corner talking about the inequality here at the high school, which obviously many of you feel there is. We asked specifically, what is it? And it was mostly, the answers we got were about sports. The boys' teams get more attention. The boys' teams funding and, they're higher, they get better things, better buses, that sort of thing, which was exactly how it was when I was in school. So it was a little disappointing that it was still the same, but it's a reflection of the real world, too. And that's what we were talking about. That's professional sports as well. So that was, I guess, maybe a little surprising, although not shocking, that it really hasn't changed at all. And it's been a while since I've been in high school. So I would love to see maybe this group, maybe you're the group that can come up with some solutions as to how to elevate, the female sports teams in different ways so that you don't feel that it's so, off.
I don't know what I learned that was surprising. I just think that you guys are all a very impressive bunch, articulate, and have important and a lot of great things to say. And I hope you guys take this opportunity to learn from the panelists and go and get to know the panelists and ask for an internship. And use this as an opportunity to learn more and grow your own interests.
Couple of things that came to me surprising. One was I was talking to a group on that side about if the Women History Month belongs to men or women, and they felt that it belongs to women, and because it's all about women, they thought that they don't have any need to be there, and we talked about how we can't learn in a bubble. We need to be in an open space to learn about each other, and women cannot improve in their status if the men are not next to them, and if the men don't know about the problems, they won't be able to help. Another surprise was when the students were either in the disagree or strongly disagree about equality among the students. And the interesting thing was you would talk to students that were boys, they would think girls are mostly favored, and you talk to students that are girls, they thought boys are mostly favored. So that was interesting to know. This is the perspective and how you feel. And I hope the administrators here will take this and talk to the teachers, because regardless if it's true or not, if the students feel this way, that's something that we need to touch on.
I just want to echo what you said about the conversation that was going on in the back there about Women's History Month and how it, wasn't deemed as being important to the guys, and I agree. I think that everybody needs to be able to be open to the perspectives and to the places that everybody else comes from, because that's what makes us all work together better. So it was surprising that still it was only a few, but a few of them thought that it wasn't necessarily for them. And then again, the equality at the school, that was an interesting perspective as well. So definitely looking to see what you guys do in the future, and very excited for you guys to be here, and thanks for listening to us.
The inequality feelings that so many of you feel, and I spoke to just a couple of you, and I could feel the frustration, brings me to encourage you again. Speak up throughout your career, and if something's bothering you, or if you want something, or if you want to change something, or if you want to share something, talk. Go to your administrators and explain politely what doesn't feel right for you, and fix it. Don't just, sit in it, change it.
In other words, don't be passive part of your community. Be active.
Yeah, I love that.
Good advice. We'll listen.
I was just going to ask, is there a group, like a student body or student council group that can talk about these things? And
Definitely. We have represented here today ASB. We have Crew, which is celebrating rad and empowered women. Our club is here today. Raise your hands if you're part of Crew. Crew. ASB, where are you? And we also have DECA, our future entrepreneurs. And we have Service Learning. Thank you. Sorry about that. Service Learning is here as well.
This is a wonderful event. You guys are very fortunate to be in such a school that brings this to you. I'm so impressed, and I'm so happy that my daughter is coming here next year. And thank you so much for doing this.
And thank you to PTSA, who has made this possible, and you're welcome. Thank you to KBEV for covering the event. Thank you to our yearbook journalism students for covering the event, and thank you to music production for our lovely sound.